Good morning. I'd like to welcome you to Creative Kids Learning Center. The Board of Directors and I are privileged to welcome Governor Pritzker this morning for a significant announcement on his ongoing support for the child care industry. On behalf of the staff and the children and the families we serve, I express our deepest appreciation to the Governor for the support we've received through the Restore Illinois Child Care Grant Program that has enabled our center to weather the impact of the pandemic. Quite honestly, folks, without those funds, our center would have had to either eliminate benefits, lay off staff, greatly reduce services, and leave many of the children without quality care. It's been a tough time on the child care industry, and if it wasn't for this additional funding, we could not have been sustained. We probably wouldn't be standing here today. The first line in our center's mission statement is, "Children always come first." We are honored to welcome the Governor, who shares both our passion for empowering children and champions the cause for assuring that all working families in Illinois have access to quality early childhood education. Governor Pritzker, as a small token of our appreciation, our school children have made a thank you card for us, for you. Thank you for all you're doing to support the child care industry.
Thank you.
We really appreciate this, and I
appreciate you. Oh my goodness.
I can't tell you how much we thank you for.
Oh, look at that.
For the stuff that we do, and it's our.
I'm going to hold this up so everybody can see.
This is the way we do things. Not a lot
love
of
it.
sophistication, but it's a lot of love.
It's perfect. It's perfect. Thank you so much.
Thank
I
you
really
for
appreciate
looking after us the way you have.
Of
Appreciate
course.
it.
Thank you. Can you hold that? Thank
I
you.
will take these out.
Very nice. Well, good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Thank you so much to Keith, and thank you to everyone here at Creative Kids Learning Center for hosting me, and of course hosting all the folks who are standing behind me. Thank you to Mayor Goings, to Lieutenant Governor Juliana Stratton, to Illinois Department of Human Services Secretary Grace Ho, and Representative Amy Ellick. It's been a mission of mine as governor to make Illinois the best state in the nation for families raising young children. So as we put the full force of state government behind delivering the pandemic recovery that our residents deserve, childcare access and affordability is at the front and center of that effort. Already in 2020, Illinois created the nation's largest childcare grant program that's been hailed as a national model, helping thousands of childcare providers, just like the folks here at Creative Kids, to keep their doors open amidst the most turbulent of times. We did so while ensuring our healthcare and our essential workers had access to childcare in those early, crucial months of the pandemic. We've been providing $570 million in childcare restoration grants to over 5,000 childcare centers and homes since last summer, helping them stay afloat through these challenging times. That includes $19.5 million for 209 providers here in Madison and St. Clair counties, ensuring families in the region have one less thing to worry about when it comes to their children. Those grants have worked. After years of child care centers struggling and going out of business, even before the pandemic, 30% fewer centers closed last year than closed on average in 2016 or 2017 or 2018. And as I announced earlier this week, we're not done providing help to parents and to children and to the child care centers and workforce that they rely upon. Later this fall, providers will be able to apply for their share of $300 million additional dollars in grant funding for our child care infrastructure, bolstering their ability to recruit and retain additional workers. That's in addition to bonuses that we'll be sending out to each member of our heroic child care workforce in the coming months. Of course, our work to uplift this sector didn't just begin with the pandemic. I've spent decades before I became governor finding ways to make quality childcare and early childhood education more affordable and available. And that's why my first budget upon entering the governorship included the largest early childhood appropriations in the history of the state. Earlier this summer, my administration delivered our third payment rate increase to childcare providers. We started that before the pandemic, increasing the dollars that come through the doors and in turn into the pockets of caretakers and early childhood educators. We've also expanded eligibility so that even more families can benefit from the Child Care Assistance Program and access quality, affordable childcare. It's a 25 percentage point increase in income eligibility since I came into office. As families' incomes rise, we don't want them to simply fall off the cliff because they're making more money and don't qualify anymore for child care assistance. So at higher income levels, we've capped out-of-pocket costs at 7% of income, making child care significantly more affordable than many, many other states. And starting October 1st, for the first time, parents looking for work in Illinois can access 3 months of child care assistance too, helping to jumpstart the next phase of our economic recovery. When our youngest families succeed, our whole state reaps the benefits, and that's the Illinois that our residents deserve, and together we're making it happen. With that, I want to turn it over to truly an outstanding leader in my administration, someone I'm proud to have representing me everywhere that she goes, but also working on behalf of the people of the entire state of Illinois. She's been lifting up families and communities for many years, but lately as Secretary of the Department of Human Services has truly been, well, heroic. I used that word before, but I always think of that when I think of our Secretary of the Department of Human Services, Grace Ho.
Good morning. And thank you, Governor Pritzker. Under your leadership, we are truly transforming the early childhood system. These announcements, coupled with all that we have already accomplished, especially after the previous administration's disinvestment and cuts to this very program, this is truly extraordinary. We in Illinois are putting working parents, families, and children at the center of recovery. We know that the best way to both support working parents and to grow and nurture young minds is to access quality childcare. It's good for the now, it's good for our recovery, and it's good for the future of our state. And I'm thrilled to be here with Keith and the staff at the Creative Kids Learning Center that serves so many families area-wide and is home to the educators who are a critical part of the local community. This is where the important work happens. The significant investments announced today, adding up to almost $500 million, is on top of the many efforts that we have rolled out this past year and a half. We have increased rates for providers, reduced the financial burden of child care for working parents, and crafted innovative, flexible policies to support providers and families during the most challenging and ever-changing conditions created by the pandemic. Over 5,000 child care providers have received restoration grants beginning back in July of 2020, a sustaining and highly successful program. And I want to emphasize one of the facts that the governor outlined, which is our efforts are working, and the data shows that. 98% of licensed child care centers that received these grants are still open and caring for children in Illinois. At the Department of Human Services, we will not stop innovating and developing ways to ensure that we are supporting Illinois communities. The child care system allows parents to go to work and to have the peace of mind that their children are well cared for while they are earning a living for their family. Quality child care is something that every child deserves, a proven asset in our future and an investment for working families. We thank Governor Pritzker for his steadfast leadership and decades-long commitment to early childhood that has fueled the strongest ever investment in early childhood programs and centers in Illinois. His leadership is positioning Illinois to, in fact, be the best state in the nation for families to raise young children. I want to echo his appreciation and thank the child care workers across the state and all of the staff that make child care centers powered. And we want to thank our legislative allies who stand with us. And without further ado, it is my great pleasure and honor to welcome our next speaker, the Lieutenant Governor, Juliana Stratton. Thank you so much.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much, Secretary Ho, for that warm introduction. And thank you, Governor Pritzker, for your continued commitment to uplifting Illinois families. I would also like to emphasize not only what Secretary Ho said, but to just acknowledge her leadership. I really consider the Department of Human Services to bring the heart of our administration. And I also want to acknowledge the elected officials who are standing up with families with us today. It is with great pride that I stand before you today as we lead the nation in supporting our child care system. Our administration is sending this message to families all across our state. We see you, we hear you, and we will always be there for you. Right now, families need that more than ever. The child care crisis continues to escalate in this country, and here are just a few of the figures. $13,000. That's how much the typical working family spends a year on child care. And the financial burden is even heavier for low-income families who have to balance finding care for their child with putting food on the table and keeping a roof over their heads. $39,000. That's how much less the average child care worker is paid compared to the average national salary. And that's if there's even a job for them. 1 in 6. Since the pandemic began, 1 in 6 child care jobs have been lost. As if all of these numbers aren't troubling enough, then there's the $57 billion lost because so many mothers are unable to find work because they just can't afford child care. By not investing in our children, we have set back decades of progress in women's rights and in racial equity. Because in every scenario, studies show that Black women are hurt the most, whether they are underpaid child care workers who just lost their job or mothers struggling to find care. Our common sense policymaking is helping us to bridge this gap. And as we just heard from Governor Pritzker, we've seen results. Here's what I know for sure, not just as Lieutenant Governor, but as a mom. Investing in child care is investing in justice for women, for people of color, and for the children whose futures are at stake when their parents are stretched too thin. In Illinois, families know that we have their back. Thank you to all of the advocates, the community activists, lawmakers, and agency leaders who stand with us in this important work. And with that, I would like to introduce Representative Amy Ellick.
Good morning, everybody. I'd like to welcome you all to the 111th House District, which I am honored to represent. In fact, welcome to this neighborhood in particular. We're just a couple blocks away from my mother's childhood home, and she still lives there, so welcome to you all. Thank you for coming to my district and taking the time to visit here at Creative Kids Learning Center. Since the beginning of the pandemic, I've had multiple conversations with child care providers, including right here at Creative Kids, about the hurdles they have faced since the first stay-at-home orders took place in March of 2020. It's vital for our state, for the Metro East, and for families that we stay open for business and that our workers head back to work. Our child care providers are hiring. I encourage people who are looking for a job to please apply. You will love working with the children. The staffing issues we face not only affect child care providers, but they also affect the parents that want to return to work and the businesses that need the parents to return to work. So in order for people to return to work, parents need access to quality, affordable child care for their families. I look forward to working with you all and my colleagues in the General Assembly on solutions that not only address child care, workforce shortages, but address the multitude of issues that our state has faced since March of 2020. So again, thank you and welcome to Alton. Thank you. Oh, I'd like to reintroduce Governor Pritzker to come up and say a few more words. Thank you.
Thank you. Happy to take any questions from members of the media. Okay, Thank you all for coming, everybody.